Welcome back, everybody. I say welcome back. That feels interesting. I don't know how to describe that. But welcome back, everybody, to a special episode of Benders and Brews, as if every episode of Benders and Brews wasn't special. But I digress. Today, we're doing a Q&A episode where we're going to answer all the questions that you guys sent in to us or that we kind of came up with for each other. There's some of those mixed in there as well. And yeah, we're gonna find out some interesting details that we didn't get to explore during the show. We're gonna talk about those. It'll be a lot of fun. So, kicking things off, I think the best way to do this probably is to go around the table. I've got a list of the questions that either we got sent to us or that we came up with, like I mentioned before, and I've divvied those out to everybody. So I think it'd be best to just go around the table and have each person pick one of the questions, and then just ask whoever it is that it's directed to, and then we'll go from there. So. Connor, you want to kick things off with one of the questions?
Sure. Let's see here. So I got a question for Mr. Bill Dorr, Ash Ketchum, Cameron over here.
Just starting it off with me, okay?
Yeah, I'll start off with you. Were there any like hints that we missed that you were trying to drop of your guy actually being a firebender, aside from his name being Ash and brothers being named Ember and Blaze?
Well,
and he's from the Fire Nation.
Well, none of that. It was hints to him being a bender, more that he was from a Fire Nation and his family had a lot of fire themes to it. And I mean, you could take his whole background being from the Fire Nation as a hint to him being a firebender, but the thing is, there's plenty of people in every nation that aren't benders, so it's not like I was ever like pushing at that. The only major things that were like, I rarely hinted at him being a bender because a big part of his character was he was afraid of fire. He was a pyrophobia because of his accident. And because of that, he resented the idea of using his powers. So even in any crisis situation, the last thing he would do is use his powers, right? And so because of that, it was hard for me to hint about it. And so his best hints were probably like his pyrophobia and his all of his scars from his burn damage and stuff. And like he in some way is related to fire, whether he self-burned himself, which surprisingly isn't a thing you see all the time in Avatar, but like pyro people aren't flame immune. Right. So I don't know why there's more people in the Avatar universe that aren't like covered in like burn marks,
especially
and stuff.
From the Fire Nation. I mean, you got dudes that are
like
using firebending.
Like the only one was Zuko. That was it, and it's just like that's kind of weird knowing, because like I was asking Skylar when I was running the character specifically for our pot episode, because that might have been that was the one time I was almost going to hint it was our prequel episode, and we had to cross that hot floor. And Bill, I even messaged Skylar. I was like, does Bill have an immunity to fire damage? And could I just like walk across these hot coals and just not feel it? And he told me if you do, it won't be as harmful as like someone else doing it, but it still would hurt, but just not as bad as like if a non-firebender did it. And I was like, that makes sense because I can use heat, so my body probably handles it better. But from the way he sounded it sounded like if I stood on them long enough, I would start burning still. So... and like I can fall in lava and burn to death still. So it's like
it'd be an interesting thing to like look into the Avatar world and so on and so forth to see like, I mean, all things considered, again, there's nothing to suggest that they have immunity. I don't know if it's just a situation where people that have firebending just have calloused fingers and feet to the point where, you know, when they're kicking, because the fire is like right there, like within inches of their body. So it only makes sense that to some extent they're feeling that heat and that burn. But obviously not as much so as other people. I don't know. It's an interesting question. But like you referenced, Zuko having a giant burn on his face suggests that they absolutely can get burned. Mm-hmm. It's just like, why are they also able to control fire to an extent? You know, I don't know.
Like if I didn't know about Zuko, I definitely would not have made Bill have a giant scar on his body, because I would have just thought, oh, firebenders can't get burn marks, right? But Zuko clearly shows you the opposite. So there isn't actually an answer to the question, though. I never really hinted at it. The only real hint is my burn scars and his extreme phobia. But people definitely could have just chalked that up to
he's from the Fire Nation.
He's from the Fire Nation. He's afraid of fire because he got badly hurt by it in the past. But that doesn't mean he has bending. So as we saw, he does have bending, and that's what caused his damage. But
yeah, Tough to say. Cameron, you got a question you can throw to
Yeah.
somebody in the group?
Sure, I could pass this to the next person to my left and go for Michaela as Mika. It says, what does life look like for Mika once her father returns from his final mission with the rescue team squadron? In 20 years, what is Mika up to? From Llama
20
Lover.
years. From who?
From Llama Lover.
Llama Lover.
Llama Lover.
Thanks, Llama Lover.
I love llamas.
Clear this person does too.
Yeah.
But basically, I think the storm of this question is it's a two-part one. What
Right.
does she do when her father comes back? And then what do you imagine Mika's future looks like?
Well, I imagine when her father comes back, they probably find a place to kind of settle down.
Is that in Gowling or do they
Yeah,
go?
I would say in Gowling because Mika has a lot of trauma with the Water Nation.
Oh, that's a fair point.
And I mean, she's currently staying at the hut. I mean,
Whoa.
Whoa, that's a dramatic.
She goes and she does
she's
open up a
currently
hot
at the
leaf
Blissful Brew. And so I figure when her dad comes, they probably settle down there until they figure out more of what they want to do long term. I think Mika would probably be very interested in doing, like, what do you call it?
Arts and crafts.
Mm,
Describe it.
well, I'm trying to. You guys keep interrupting.
Sorry.
me.
Pottery. You're doing the same thing she just complained
Everyone
about.
else was saying something.
Like when you like a private investigator.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I think you had mentioned that before.
Yeah.
She probably gets her start. You know, she works dishwasher. She has a great backdoor business opportunity. I feel like of just
Like literally out of the back door, like she's cleaning dishes, and then somebody runs up to the back door, and they're like, "Are you Mika? Mika Investigation Agency? That
well, I'm
the
sure.
MIA?
I'm sure over time she'd have some kind of code or whatever. But like also
They knock on the door 3 times, then 2 times, then 6 times.
also who was her friend from the boar group?
Oh, Chikra?
Yeah, Chikra. I mean, you know, Chikra could give her a great in with the community.
Oh, I thought you were
going to
say they're going to start a business together.
I mean,
Maybe
that
an
would be
investigation
probably
business.
a high potential.
That'd be kind of cool.
But
Chicken meat.
as for 20 years, I don't know. I don't think that she's really interested in settling down and starting a family. I just think she's probably more making a name for herself.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. She expands her investigative tendencies to go past the Earth Nation and into other nations. Who knows?
Yeah, you know,
solving mysteries.
Play off those role playing skills.
Whoa, like Zoinks, Scoob.
You know, she had a lover in that. Well, that's where it was going, but it didn't actually end up that
Are
way.
you talking about the prison?
Yeah.
She takes that seriously? She goes somewhere with that?
Well, I mean, like, as a private investigator, she could
writes-
just,
she
you know,
writes.
do her role playing, not like.
Oh,
writes
she
erotic
takes the
fiction.
experience. She bend and snaps all over the place.
I'm just saying, like, she
novelist.
has experience pretending to be something she's not.
Got it. Okay, I understand.
That's what
Okay,
I meant.
that makes sense. All right. Well, moving past the question given to you, do you have a question for somebody else, Michaela?
I can do. Whoa.
Sure. Everybody's just
Um,
passing it around the table.
Well,
Well, then you're next, so-
I didn't
Oh, no.
want to break the status quo. What's Guo's long-term goal in reference to the Blissful Brew in his career?
Oh. Is he gonna keep it up? Is he gonna be the next Ocaron?
I would say that he'd probably definitely keep like all the tea on the menu.
Nice.
But he would probably branch out and either do something to complement that more or open up another business, maybe like next door. You know, maybe
Nice.
have
Okay.
other ventures separate.
Sure. That makes sense. And like, yeah, it doesn't all have to be in the same place. I actually imagine that a lot of the stovetop space was going to be used for just a bunch of tea kettles. So it just doesn't leave a whole lot of room
Yeah.
for all the other food prep and stuff. So yeah, if he had like a building next door or something.
And maybe someday he'd
Expansion.
Yeah.
he'd have his own version of like Guy Fieri's Diners,
Diners, and
drive-ins, and dives.
I love that idea. Dropping those Pebble ratings all over the place.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Well, and all things considered, I did imagine personally when I was like especially near the beginning of the series when we actually see like Ocaron's getting things ready in the kitchen and stuff like that. We're kind of going through what everybody's position within the Blissful Brew. And I imagine it being really crowded. Like the sink is back there. So Mika's like doing dishes. Mika and Brock is like massive, obviously. And they're doing dishes and it's crowding that whole section of the back area. And then you've got Ocaron is trying to like cook stuff and Bill is trying to take stuff back and forth from the floor. So he's grabbing the stuff that, it's just like a really crowded environment in the back there. So yeah, either an expansion or just like getting a second building, I think is probably necessary. Awesome. All right. Whoa, Dave, you're up.
Let's go one for Skylar.
Oh my gosh. Who could have guessed?
All right. So, what was the plan for the plot of the missing sea serpent scale?
Ah, yes, the scale. Okay, so this is one of those situations where like the DM obviously writes out like a whole elaborate thing and then expects the player, and that was my fault. I foolishly expected the players to just follow through with it and do the mystery as it was meant to be. And you can never put a thing into place and expect your players to do it the way that you thought you were going to do. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. I just thought you guys would like go in there and you would, I thought Cameron, honestly, I thought you would have the grid. I made a grid while I was plotting this out and I had all the suspects listed. And then I went through the entire mystery and stuck clues in different points where I was like, if a person explores all these avenues, they'd find the clues. And if they put them on this grid, they would know exactly who did it. Because there's literally one person that has every single element in their character. And at the very least, you could probably narrow them down to like 2 people. And just by attitude alone, you might have guessed that it was the right guy. But instead, Brock's like flipping people over and shaking their pockets and then essentially torturing them into just admitting. And at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, season 2 is going to be 300 episodes long. What is this, One Piece? So I was like, I need to move this along and just like, okay, fine. Yeah, you shake him and the scale falls out of his pocket. Like, there you go. We got to get this plot moving. But where's the other scale? Oh, you don't know where the other scale is. So yeah, I don't know. To be honest, it was kind of a filler episode just to have something goofy going on. And then of course, Bill wanted nothing to do with the whole thing, just beeline straight for the boat after he was like sick of it. And I'm like, what's going to stop him, I guess? I don't know. They just need to get to the island. This is a fair point. I can't deny it for the purpose of convenience. So, I mean, I don't know. There you go. It was a filler episode, technically. I just wanted to throw a mystery in there. I didn't think it would take 3 episodes to get through it.
And all it took was Brock just chaining everybody's feet to the floor and shaking them upside down.
That's right.
That's right. If you want to get anywhere, kids, start
Shake-
torturing people.
Violence.
Pick the kid up and shake his milk money out of his pockets.
Violence.
We don't condone bullying, actually.
Oh, yeah. We don't. Yeah. Don't.
But-
Yeah.
I appreciate Mika being the voice of reason.
What?
Yeah, that's a little
Unexpected. Okay, so question for everybody. We'll do rapid fire around the room. This is mine to you guys. Favorite NPC? Go, Connor.
Can you come back
I'm
to me?
worried where you. Oh, okay. I was worried where you're gonna go. Cameron.
It's one of 2 characters. Oh, there's just 3. There's so many good ones.
Oh no.
I'll just quick say my 3 favorites. One was the explosives guy. The
Okay.
other one was the 90-degree man, old guy that was on the hike with us.
The guy was ridiculous.
And then the last one was Keto.
Keto. All right. Michaela.
I liked Chikra.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I also did like the butler guy.
Oh, the butler guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost forgot about him.
Yeah.
That's a throwback. He was fun. Hey, wait a minute. So you're not going to integrate him? I feel like he would come up at some point in Mika's future endeavors.
I mean, maybe he could be my butler someday.
Maybe you take him on as like, yeah. The Blissful Brew gets like really wealthy.
He could be like our host.
Oh, you guys could hire him at the Blissful Brew.
Yeah.
Yo.
I'm sure we could,
because Bill doesn't work there anymore as the host.
Yeah, you don't have a host
True.
waiter.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
He would be
Oh
perfect
my
for the job.
gosh. He's brilliant. All right, Dave, favorite NPC?
Mr. Okeron.
Oh,
Okay, he's right. Okay.
Forgot about it.
He's got a good point.
Dang it. All right, back to Connor.
Okay, so either the pirate,
I knew
the lady
that was
pirate,
coming.
The lady pirate?
Yeah.
the lady pirate that Brock tried to,
Give me a second
tried
to
so
roll
hard.
my eyes harder.
or Chikra for nothing else than her saying, "What's your favorite thing to do without a dad?" Still, I think the best
That
line of
might
the
be
entire campaign.
my magnum opus NPC spur of the moment line right there. What's your favorite thing to do without a dad?
Probably my favorite line of the whole campaign.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. I need to put that on a t-shirt.
Like make some stickers.
What's your favorite thing to do without a dad? Dang. And I'd cry. A tear would fall every time someone bought that sticker or that t-shirt. I'd go, oh, somebody out there. I'm sorry. Wow. Man, I don't know. Keto was really fun to play. I also really enjoyed Old Man Gunja, which was voiced by our good friend Doug. That was just a goofy character to like write for, and his spoons,
And his spoons
and
and his.
expecting.
And then him and Guo having like pie fight, like trying to fight over the same pie,
eating entire spoonfuls of cinnamon.
Yeah.
And he wanted interest on you borrowing his spoon. It was weird. All right, Connor, what do you got?
I'll throw it over to Dave, Mr.
Whoa.
Guohan from Think B63.
Nice.
Did you feel that Guo's backstory at the carnival would have shown up more throughout the campaign, or do you kind of wish it showed up more so he could flex his carnival muscles?
Oh man.
Or circus muscles?
I mean, I did try to reference back to different skills that he had from the carnival, but the only thing that maybe I would have liked more to come through was the lady he left behind.
Maribel.
But
Yeah. Just see her pop up again. That would have been interesting for sure. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity we could have taken with the carnival showing up again. I know I kind of just threw Chinks and Ani in there.
Oh, and also I did kind of leave it open to like, oh, Guo's parents are potentially alive still.
Yeah.
That would have been intense. I feel like. I mean, I think we hit two pretty emotional points with Bill's backstory and Mika's backstory like throughout the series, but I feel like, and no offense to Connor and Brock, but I feel like the only other like really emotional note that we probably could have hit would have been with Guo and his parents.
I mean, that's fair.
I mean, yours were like fine, honestly.
Brock was just a Earth Rumble 6 fighter.
Yeah, yeah. And your family was like all good. They're out there. They're doing their farm. You're
Yeah.
sending them some money. You know.
They're just over there harvesting their cabbages.
I don't want to give too much away because I know there's a question that'll come up because I already read through them all, and I have more to say on that, but I digress. Anyway,
Okay.
Cameron.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Skylar.
Oh no.
If you could go back and change anything about the story, what would it be?
Okay. So that's a really tough question. I mean, it's tough to answer as the DM because the idea behind DMing is that I just come up with like the titles for the chapters, right? And then you guys are the ones that are kind of creating the story that happens within it, right? Like I just come up with the headers, you guys come up with the actual like content within that. So it's hard for me to say like, man, I wish I could have changed that because I don't want to change anything that you guys sort of use to develop your characters. With that being said, that's a tough one. I was really happy with everything that happened. I guess I'm not trying to cheat off of what was just discussed, but I probably would integrate Woe's backstory a little bit more because I felt like I said, Connor or Brock's backstory, it felt very like it was good where it was at. I feel like Bill had a very obvious like progression to get to. Michaela playing Mika had like a really fun kind of angst. You had the most like angsty teen, and that left a lot of opportunity to like throw the angsty teen into situations and see how they get themselves out of it because this angsty teen got to grow up. But then like Guo, I felt like didn't get enough representation. I say that'd probably be my main thing that I'd want to adjust to like get Dave on a little bit more and get Guo to like have an opportunity to, I don't know, have some big growth moment or something like that. Yeah, that's probably what I'd change.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, sorry,
My turn.
Michaela. Yeah, sorry, I should have.
I got a question for Brock, Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? I feel like this is gonna come off very mean, but it's fine. Do you feel like Brock really learned anything by the end of the series? And if so,
That's a
what?
good question.
I thought that a lot in the last season.
That's a fair question, and I feel like the answer is no.
I think we can all agree it's no.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of learned how to read.
Yeah.
Well, he was starting to.
He was starting to learn how to read, but emotionally, no. He's not a character arc. He's just a character
He's just a
plateau.
He was the base that everyone's arcs were built off of.
Yeah.
He needed a good foundation, and that was Brock. He was the foundation, the catalyst for everyone else.
Yeah, it's like by seeing Brock stay the same, you could see the growth of everybody else. It's like,
That kind of makes sense. Actually.
Brock stood still so everybody else could run.
exactly, and that's his role, and he filled that role.
I mean, he was really embodying a Rock there.
That's
He
true.
was, yes.
Brock
Steady.
started out punching his problems away, and Brock ended punching his problems away. That was his plateau. Like I think you
Pretty.
did.
And he helped his friends punch their
That's
problems
true.
away.
I would really love to meet Brock's parents.
Well, one
Mr.
is the Cabbage Man apparently.
One is the Cabbage Man, and
Well, I just want to see if they're just as
like.
yeah.
Well,
Probably
the
like
Cabbage Man was.
They're probably like the nicest people.
They probably are actually.
Brock's just weird. He's just we just kind of let him do whatever.
Like a
Dude, I mean, in the prequel episode, the Cabbage Man is kind of like, oh, we better not mess with the Firebenders. They're more powerful than us. We're in the prison camp. Let's just roll. He's like, he's Grandpa Grape in VeggieTales, in the Egypt one, where he's just like, 3 square meals a day.
it was paradise.
It was paradise. And then Brock's like, no, I'm going to punch it.
yeah. I just want to know how Brock became the way he did.
Yeah, how did Brock go from having such nice parents that are very passive
To
to being
being
like,
an-
no, I want to
I don't
Hidden
know.
psychopath.
Maybe he took too many rock naps. Like he hit
Burying
himself in the head too many
people alive.
times with a couple rocks. Maybe it's the amount of
He didn't get
concussions he
zapped
got
on
from
his
Earth
head.
Rumble
Maybe
or something.
sleeping underground and no oxygen does something to a man's brain.
Maybe lack of oxygen doesn't do well for brain development. You could be onto something.
Good to know for you're out there raising your kids.
Make sure they get
You
oxygen.
want them to just punch everything.
This one is for Mika's character. Or Michaela's character, Mika.
Sometimes it's hard to distinguish.
Would you say
I'm nothing like her, okay?
Mika is more willing to make friends now than she was at the start of the series? This is from Distant Dreams.
I mean, I feel like she'd be pretty content with the one she has.
Dang, so even less so.
Well, I mean, like, you think about it. She was really close to her parents. The whole thing happened with her tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Mom died. She lost her dad.
Mm.
Well, she thought she did lose her dad, just not in the
Right.
dying sense. And then Mr. Ocaron dies. I feel like she's probably just, it would be hard for her to allow more and more new people to come in because attachments would form.
Right. And she's tired of loss.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But she did remake friends with Chikra at the end.
Yeah, see, I
There's
mean,
that.
Chikra's all she needs.
She locked it in. Do you think she becomes friends with what's her name?
Kai? No, Sora?
Sora?
Probably. Ish.
I don't know.
What about
Probably.
the wild coyote boars?
What about the other wild coyote boars?
Yeah.
I
Scrawny
feel
dude
like-
with scoliosis and the big guy.
They seem nice.
I mean, I feel like having an in with Chikra, she'd almost have to be.
Right.
Like, that's, in a sense, Chikra's family.
Oh, you make it seem like they're gonna start the gang back up again
I
with a
mean-
different purpose.
I mean, they
I'd
could.
assume.
They
It's
could.
gonna be one of those
Oh
fun
my gosh,
They
kid
could
no,
games.
it's
private
gonna become
investigate Madam
Scooby-Doo in the
Ying's
game.
hot leaf
Yeah.
gang and tear him down.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh, it's just Scooby Doo in the game avatar. without the dog. I don't know. Yeah, without the. I don't know. Maybe you get something.
No, they have a
I
fox
have
dog.
a fox dog, you dingus.
Oh, the fox dog. Ah, it learns to sort of talk.
What?
I mean, it was in the spirit realm for a little while. It's possible.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I'll give you that. That sounds cool. Is it back to me?
Think so?
Okay. Everybody's favorite moment in the series. Connor.
Are we talking
scared.
about plot wise or like outside of here? Like between like us talking?
No, like plot wise.
Okay,
In the
plot
story.
Well, I kind of have two answers to that.
Okay.
Plot wise, my favorite part was just the wild coyote boar fight. Because
that was a pretty crazy fight.
Because I mean, Brock got to punch Chikra through a wall, and then the last guy who tried to run away, my roll was so good that I was able to take away one of his abilities, and I decided to take away he can't run away. And so we not only got the money back and got them to not mess with us, but we also took his money out of his
Yes,
pocket.
right.
So I think that was my favorite plot part. My favorite part from like just us, like on the outside, breaking
Yeah.
the fourth wall here, was how frustrated you got when we were in the cave that I think it was me and Guo were able to just sort of earthbend tunnels around the puzzles you had built. It's like
the entire series of challenges when you're inside a mountain
and you have two
earthbenders.
or it's like, can we just make a tunnel? And you're like,
I guess.
sure, like it doesn't not make sense. Just how frustrated you were getting.
That's true.
That was fun.
I mean, how do you win against the element bending? I'm like, man, anything I throw at him is in this world, like as it is. Like, there's no technology and stuff, so everything's just elements. Like,
You
for
had to do
other
it in a
people,
mountain.
I guess.
Unfortunately, there were two earthbenders who could just make a door.
I should have put you back on the pirate boat because at
That-
least that presented some challenge.
That would have worked. Can't bend wood.
That's right. Cameron, favorite moment?
It's probably my favorite moment because I think it's the start to where I personally thought it started getting really good in terms of the character development and
Yeah.
the storytelling. And with season 3, it was the factory.
Oh,
I think that's when a lot of stuff started like hitting the
Yeah.
fan really, and
Those backstories
a
really
lot
started
of
coming into
lot of stuff, like a lot of things came to play all at like one moment. I think the distinct moment was when Mika had to choose between hitting Bill
right.
to hit Madame Yang or to not hit Madame Yang. I think that one moment was a very crucial moment for the whole, where everything had led up to that moment, and that moment was a giant tipping point for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that singular moment, I think, was one of the most important moments and one of my favorite moments in the show.
That was pretty intense. And we're all looking at Michaela like, is she going to choose it? Is she going to choose it? Cameron's like, dude, if you got to do it, do it. Like, do what fits best. Yeah, it was pretty intense. Michaela, on the flip side, what was your favorite moment? Throwing boiling hot water in Bill's face, definitely.
The
Poor
OSHA.
Madame Yang just got in the way.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what my favorite part would be.
I think Michaela, out of everybody in the group, got the most frustrated every time Madame Yang got away. I feel like, at least vocally.
Are you kidding? I had her on the
You were
ropes,
also
man.
pretty upset, but I feel like
I'm
every
gonna
single
butcher.
time Michaela yelled, "Are you serious right now? You have got to be kidding me!"
Having a lot. So was your favorite moment when we finally knocked her out?
Finally did get away.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like the side conversations between some of the NPCs and our characters were kind of, I don't know. It's just nice to have something outside of the story sometimes,
Yeah. The side conversations
Yeah.
and such. Yeah, that makes sense.
just to see what direction that takes. I mean, because it does have effect on the bigger story, I feel like.
Like how you basically befriended Chikra like from the get-go, which was kind of ironic
Yeah.
because she was coming for the very tea shop that
Well,
you
and then
represented.
after we did the factory, and I basically was like, "Sorry, Bill, for being a brat." I just felt like that you can see like the character growth
Yeah,
and
yeah.
development, and I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she liked the quiet moments.
Yeah, the quiet moments. Which
No, they're great
yeah,
moments.
absolutely. That dialogue is so necessary to really again build the characters and tell a story. And that's really cool when it works out that way. Sometimes, you get a quiet moment and you're just looking at the players like, oh man, there's a nice fire. You guys are sitting around it. I guess. I mean, are you guys just gonna go to bed, or and you kind of hope as the DM, like, I mean, I got stuff ready, but if you guys want to talk a little bit, go ahead. But no, that's great. That's great. Hey everyone, Skylar here. Are you a fan of Session Zero Heroes and the shows we produce, or the characters involved? Then you should check out our epic merch we have available online. From shirts to stickers and everything in between, we worked hard on creating a variety of designs and made sure to get your favorite characters on those products as well. Whether you're looking for Brock Lee on a hoodie to wear to the gym with you, or maybe Fizzlefinger's tote bag to stuff your ill-gotten gains in, we've got you covered. Just head over to our website at sessionzeroheroes.com and click on our merch tab to see all the amazing products and designs that you can get. Now back to the show. Dave, what was your favorite moment?
Probably one of my favorite moments was, none of your characters were looking, but Guo did a backflip.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yes. I love it.
No, I did enjoy probably in the first season the whole like lead up and to the wild coyote boar fight. Also, I just thought that was a fun gang to fight.
Yeah, it was.
But when Guo inspired the community or whatever, and we all did the snaps
The
together.
snaps.
It was
So
amazing.
intense.
It was amazing.
Can you imagine an entire town's worth of people just stepping at you with looks of anger in their eyes and just aggressively snapping at you?
I'd
Like,
probably laugh.
it would be weird.
What would you do? I mean,
I'd be
honestly,
intimidated.
And you just go, when you're the Jets, you'll
Yeah.
have to go.
I just feel like I'd laugh out of awkwardness. Like,
Probably.
Just
And And then I
Uh,
did like the last fight with Madame Yang too. I thought that ending came together pretty well.
the
Yeah.
bit where the guy's pen didn't have any ink left in it,
And
and
then
then
Dilbert
Guo squirts ink right out of Dilbert and says, "Use
Amazing.
this." That was
Amazing.
incredible.
Amazing.
but
Unexpected.
you were also like, really?
I will say about that final fight and scene, you put an amazing score that
Oh,
fit
yeah.
it really well. Like
Yeah.
the beats and the pacing and the timing of everything was really well done. So applaud you on that.
Yeah,
scale,
yeah.
on that
Well,
editing
I
front.
applaud. I believe it was Monument Studios that we got the music from. Which
So you just got that.
I know. I had
that-
just got. They just reached out to ask if we would be willing to kind of collaborate with them on their Kickstarter, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And they just straight up offered. They're like, here's a bunch of music
Yeah.
that you can use, which was amazing and super generous of them. And then I was like, hey, I just wanted to check with you guys beforehand, but is it cool if we use this music in our show? And they're like, dude, yeah, that's like the point basically. So yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That they did that, and not like a sponsor, but they did help us out
Yeah.
quite a bit on an awesome collab. So really appreciate them. Definitely go check out their Fantasy Plus soundboard. It's really cool. So as Cameron can attest, it worked out really well. Connor, I think you're up, right?
Yeah. So I'll throw it right back at you here, Skylar. What is your? I would like to ask, what is your favorite and least favorite off-script moment where
Okay.
we went completely in a different direction than what you had planned?
Well, I think we can all easily agree that the least favorite was the challenge. Well, oh man, see, now you guys have put it into perspective, because there was the mystery of the scale that lasted 3 episodes. I didn't expect that. And just how you guys handled it, that might be a least favorite. But then also you reminded me about the challenges within the cave, solved almost entirely by, well, I can earthbend, so... So yeah, I would say between those two, it's got to be one of those for like least favorite. One of my favorite moments. Oh my gosh, I hate to be that guy that just like says, "Oh yeah, that thing that you guys already mentioned." But oh my gosh, that moment of what's your favorite thing to do without a dad was truly magical and unexpected. I did not expect Michaela to just like start making friends with like I said, one of the people that you guys actively had coming after you guys. And I thought it was so funny. And then things started lining up really well with the whole dad bit and everything like that. I feel like it wasn't even just that. It was like that and like 3 other jokes about like, man, can't really play catch with just me or something. I don't know. There was like 3 other bits in there that I was like, this is the most like horrible thing we've ever come up with, but it's hilarious. I don't know. So that was pretty off script and hilarious. I'm trying to think if there was anything that you guys did that like I didn't even have a plan for, like at all. Like you guys like completely went off, but I don't know if there was any. I feel like, and I'm not trying to say I railroaded, but I feel like I did a pretty good job of just like trying to keep the plot going. With you guys throwing me off.
If I remember right, early in the first season, you had kind of given us like even directions to where the Wild Coyote Boar's hideout was.
Yeah, that's right.
But then Michaela decided, let's go to the rich people's
you
house.
guys all listened.
Yeah, that's
For
true.
So
what reason?
if I had to guess, that wasn't in the plan. So that's
The
how
butler
we got
wasn't in the
Sebastian
script?
out of it.
Well, actually, that's not entirely true. I did have it planned in case you guys went there because I came up where the stuff was in the basement and all of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, like, it was an option, but it wasn't what I thought you'd take. But I was also kind of worried that actually, I think the base was the secondary plan. I was worried you guys would go there because I thought, oh, man, what if they just go there and just beat everybody up? Where am I going to go?
That's
from
what
here?
Bill wanted to do.
Yeah. I remember it. Yeah.
Brock
So there is that.
at that point, Brock wasn't as hard-headed. So
Right. I think another element of off script that I thought was hilarious was the fact that after season 1, you guys still kept all that money. And then you guys went throughout the rest of the thing. And I sat there and I was like, okay, so the one thing I can't do in the whole rest of seasons 2 and inevitably 3 is put anything in a challenge situation that would involve just buying your way out. Because they can do that right now. They have a lot of money. I cannot give them any money challenges.
that is fair. We did not spend a cent, did we?
Well, we also, I mean, we just were too busy doing stuff.
Yeah.
But we could have like we could have like bribed so many guards.
We definitely spent a cent because you took Pirate Lady on a date.
Yeah.
You bought her
I
ticket.
think we also paid
Did
for
you put that on the expense report?
I think like the only thing we really paid for was that boat ride to the island.
And the guide. At the
And the
beginning.
guide, yeah.
and the guide.
That was it,
That's
really.
pretty much
So
it.
the boat ride, the guide, and
a date.
and a
date.
date
To a hot leaf juice.
to
place. Nobody in this entire room except for Brock Lee supported hot leaf juice in any way.
to be fair,
But you know, karma, he got arrested. So
He did get
I
arrested,
got
so-
arrested immediately after.
That's a good way of looking at it. Awesome. Cameron,
Well, I want to piggyback off of where you're already
you
at,
could
Skylar.
probably piggyback on comment.
Yeah. So this was a question asked by Luke,
Okay. Hey.
a good friend of ours.
Absolutely.
And the question plays off of what you were talking about, which was there anything or storylines or NPCs that completely got skipped over because of our choices? So one of them was the warehouse you prepared, but
Yeah.
did you have any other moments or characters that you had in mind that we just completely skipped over?
Yeah, so this is kind of a big one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the original intent was not necessarily to end with season 3. I had plans that were going to go past that already in place, and it was kind of more, I don't know. I don't feel like it would have been as like fun. I feel like it would have kind of felt like, you know, when shows go too far.
You're
past
dragging
what
up
they
the
needed to
story.
do.
Yeah. Past
But at
its-
the same time, I don't know. There could have been some fun elements. So I wanted you guys to obviously get the best Blissful Brew back.
Yeah.
But the overarching concept that Madame Yang and Hot Leaf Juice were still obviously out there and still obviously kind of a superpower. And then on top of it, in season 3, you guys had that whole look into one of their factories and
Yeah.
seeing how like they're getting orphans from the Fire Nation and just kind of manipulating them and using them and stuff like that. And so I was going to turn them into this like basically big corporation that you guys were going to take down little by little. And that's what was going to be future seasons. So you guys were going to travel either across the Earth Nation, and then like each season would be you guys taking down one of the shops or one of the major factories or something like that. So going off of that, probably one of my favorite ones that I had planned was in the Fire Nation in the Ember Islands, I think it was, which in the show is where like Zuko and Azula go to like have like that little vacation,
Beach scene,
basically.
yeah.
So there was going to be like a beachside like tea smoothie shack, and there was gonna be like this really chill dude that was running it, and it was technically owned and run by Hot Leaf Juice, but this guy was just kind of like, you know, your classic like chill bro kind of guy. And I was like, oh man, are they gonna take this place down, or are they just gonna like befriend this guy and try to convince him to like convert to Blissful Brew or something like that? I don't know. That was just one of the ideas. But yeah, so that was kind of like the overarching things that got skipped over. That was kind of the plan. But I know that we've got other things that we wanted to run, and there are some life changes and things. It wouldn't work out. But at the same time, I don't know if it would have even been a fun sort of series to continue going on. I think we ended on a really powerful emotional note.
I think the timing and the ending was a good ending.
Yeah, it worked out. Awesome. Michaela.
Question for Cameron.
Yellow.
This is from Z Cardinal. Something like that. There's like a lot to it, so sit down for a good time. What might life be like for Ash now that he is back in the Fire Nation? Like, what are his long-term goals, such as a job? Does he join his father's factory? What about the coming war being enacted by the Fire Nation? Would his dad choose to leave the Fire Nation to escape being a part of that, and where would they go?
Dang, the hard-hitting Bill questions.
See, I always thought about that because he's going back home with his family and stuff, and that's a lot of questions in one.
Depends if the Fire Nation has a draft.
Oh,
But I mean, it's all
now
That
That's
kind of is really important. Like,
I feel like that would
well,
answer
also,
all the
like,
questions.
Also, like, I don't know much about like the lore of Avatar, so I
Because you've
don't
only
know
seen the
like
because you've only seen the movie.
I want to see the movie exactly, and I don't know like if your family's rich, if you can skip the draft because Bill's family is very rich.
I feel like you just get put into a position of like higher leadership within the military.
That's probably what would happen. So
Yeah.
if the war happened, I assumed what would happen was Bill would go back to work with his dad
right.
and his brother, and they would start working to basically, because the war then soon starts building up. And
Yep.
so him and his family, since it's very clear his family's anti the war and all
Right.
these efforts and stuff, especially with what Bill's seen firsthand in the Earth Nation, heard the Earth Nation reports, and then tells his dad about the stuff really happening. They're taking over towns, trapping people, killing a lot of people, all this bad stuff. Then his dad definitely be even more anti stuff. So I think their factory would be like, the factory is in charge of making weapons, like the met weapons of like the tanks and those
Yeah.
vehicles and stuff, the warships and all this stuff. So I think his dad would start basically creating them to have like misfires and like
Flaws.
jamming and flaws. And basically when they're in combat, they would just stop working and stuff.
Sure.
Basically, because that way it gives the people a chance to fight back, right?
Yeah.
But then I think what would have happened is they would have caught on. His dad probably would have been put in prison, lost his
Right.
seat, and then Bill and Blaze would have been probably forced to join because I truly think if they were going against the nation, eventually they would find out, and then they would throw them in the military as punishment, and then his dad would lose his title and probably be forced to retire. But since his status, he wouldn't go to the military. He'd just be
Right.
like maybe become like a Iroh,
Yeah.
where he's like a general, but kind of being forced against his will. Like Iroh, kind of
Right.
like Iroh's a general, but like
Yeah.
he
kinda-
really doesn't want to fight. He's just
No.
like, I don't want to do this. I'm just gonna tell my troops to do the wrong things all the time.
Well, yeah,
basically.
like they kind of put him into a useless position, basically.
And that's
He's
what I
either
think
pushing
where Bill's
papers
dad would, or Ash's dad would be. But I
Yeah.
think truly Ash and his brother, probably like 10 years, 5-10 years, whenever the war really starts heating up, they would be forced to join the army.
So you think that they would stay and not run? You think they'd fight behind the scenes and not?
They would definitely be trying to help without hurting in a way, right? But like at the same time, they also don't want to get even more in trouble and then killed because of what they're doing. So they would have to be like, I don't know, maybe one time when the army's off in the Earth Nation doing stuff, maybe they run away from the army and escape together, and then they start working with like that recon. What's that?
Oh, the
Fire
rescue
Team
team
Squadron.
squadron.
Maybe since Bill knows where they has connections to them, maybe they separate from the war army, and if that group still exists, maybe they join them.
I could see a really interesting plot line developing. So like right now, as we're waiting for, I don't know, I think it's Netflix or whoever they're making an adult like Aang and the Gang's animated series of like what they do once they reach adulthood between then and Legend of Korra, basically what happens. It'd be really interesting to do something like that for Benders and Brews, where Bill grows up with Ember and they get forced into the military and stuff. And then they're like the bad guys to some extent. Cause like even within cause you guys have seen our dad was trying to subtly do things to harm the Fire Nation military.
Yeah.
We can't fall for those same mistakes because look what happened to him.
Yeah.
And so you guys are trying to like you said, maybe not do as much damage, but like I still got to kind of fall in line to some extent. And then you run into these guys who are still over in the fire or the Earth Nation. And maybe you guys to some extent are somehow brought into the fight. And then you're looking across the battlefield and you see your old friend, Bill Dorr, who you would exchange letters with up until a certain point, you know? And there's like obviously some intense tension there. Maybe there's even a situation where Bill is part of like a specific military task force that's taking over Gao Ling. And then obviously you guys get caught up in that and you're thinking, oh, it's our friend Bill. He's going to get us out of this. And he's like, I got to continue my cover, take him to the prison camps or something like that. And like, whoa. And that means Brock goes back to a prison camp, which that would be interesting. Mika and her dad would be in a prison camp, which means I'd have to do the voice for that still. Whoa, I like the idea that like, hold on. I know that this is one of my questions of what would be an interesting side story, and we're just creating it right now.
You're
But
You're
Guo
also
would,
taking our very happy ending and being
I
like,
know,
I
making
want
it-
to make it dark.
But I mean, we all know that it ends up coming back together.
Yeah, there's a war coming.
But here's the thing: it doesn't come back together at the end. Usually, someone has to die.
Okay.
And it's
Now
most
everybody
probably
put in your
Bill.
vote for
Probably
your
Bill.
least favorite
I
character.
know. Oh,
I was
man.
never a fan of Mika.
Yeah, Mika's gotta die, and also Mika's dad's.
You're
probably
my
gonna
brother
die, too.
husband. Come on.
Oh,
I was your brother,
Oh,
husband,
dang.
baby daddy. Yes.
that was also a really. That whole episode was another really
that
like
was
just
a-
favorite moment.
That was a wild
'Cause
The
episode.
that's
OSHA,
OSHA,
Ben and Snap,
Ben and Snap. Brock gets high.
Brock gets high. That's true.
The brother, husband, baby daddy situation.
That got so convoluted, but I mean, it was different people. It was information spread across different people, so it's like, oh, I guess it's okay.
And then all while that was going on the outside, I think Guo and Bill were like juggling or something.
That's right. Trying to get tips. I like how we had like a really intense, serious discussion going on, and then we're like, no, wait. Let's pull it back.
Yeah, because it doesn't fit the vibe of our show.
That was too much, too hard, too fast. That's our Patreon adult version of the show that you can subscribe. We don't have that yet. We'll see what happens. Whose turn was it? I lost track. I think you asked,
I was
right?
done with my answer, and then
Oh,
you just
okay.
kind of
I asked
Sorry.
him a
Kept
question.
going. No, I don't
So
care.
it's
Sorry.
easier.
It's a great sidetrack.
Yeah, it was interesting. Hey everyone, Skylar the Game Master for Benders and Brews and the creative director over at Session Zero Heroes here. I just wanted to give you a quick outro before you head over to the next episode or call it a day. Firstly, thank you so much for listening to our show. It means so much to us to have such amazing people like yourself that enjoy the content that we produce. Without you, there really wouldn't be much point in all the work that we put into recording, editing, and sharing our TTRPG sessions with all of you. With that being said, we would love it if you would throw some love our way and drop us a review or a rating or whatever it is called wherever you're listening to the show based on whatever platform that allows you to leave reviews and leave recommendations. It means a lot to us to get to hear why you love the show we make, and it also helps the show reach other listeners as well, allowing us to grow our community. So, if you're feeling especially generous, you could even go as far as to share our show to your friends and family who also enjoy TTRPG actual play podcasts. It's really expensive for us to be able to advertise, and we don't do much of it, so it's a lot more help to have you guys share it with people that you know will enjoy it, and then they can join in the community that we're creating. That would make you a Session Zero hero yourself. And additionally, we'd love to have you stop by on one of our various social platforms and interact with the channel there. You can find Session Zero Heroes on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Discord. We post all sorts of updates, clips, and even the occasional behind the scenes look at what we're up to. And if you're ever looking for information on SZH, or you don't use a podcast streaming site but you want to listen to our shows, you can do so by checking out our website at sessionzeroheroes.com. And while you're there, you can find out about the cast and the crew that make our show and provide the players' voices in all of our various series. And if you're feeling especially cheeky, you can check out our merch store, where we have a ton of designs and products to choose from, all of which help us pay the bills and keep the lights on. So once again, thank you all so much for listening, and remember to stay curious, stay heroic, until we roll again.